Every time people theorize about Sarada's Mangekyo Sharingan, they ask the wrong question. They ask what would be cool. They ask what sounds strong or overpowered. But Kishimoto doesn't write the Uchiha that way. To figure out Sarada's true power, we can't just guess at random abilities. We have to look at her trauma. We have to look at the myth. What story is her eye actually trying to tell? Because the strongest Mangekyo abilities aren't random. They always match the person who awakened them. They express their deepest wound, their worldview, and their way of responding to loss. Let's look at the pattern. Itachi lived a life built on a hidden truth, letting the world see him as a villain. His eyes, Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu, controlling perception and burning burdens he carried alone. Sasuke doesn't just receive the flames, he inherits Kagutsuchi. His ability is to shape and control destruction itself, fitting a boy whose life was consumed by revenge. Obito completely rejected reality after watching Rin die. His eye becomes Kamui, a literal escape from the world he refuses to accept. Shisui was desperate to stop conflict silently, without destroying the enemy. He gets Koto Amatsukami, the power to silently rewrite a person's will. The names aren't decorative, the power is the trauma. So when we talk about Sarada, the real question is, what myth is her eye telling? The Uchiha eye evolves through extreme emotion, deep attachment, loss, hopelessness. The exact moment a person's heart collapses because something precious is being ripped away. Sarada's Mangekyo is born from utter helplessness. Naruto, her role model, is presumed dead. Boruto's identity is stolen, and the entire world turns against him. Kawaki's lie becomes reality. Even Sasuke is affected, and Sarada is trapped in the worst possible position. She knows the truth, but she cannot prove it. She can see what happened, but no one else can. She is standing in a world where the truth still exists, but the world has been made permanently blind to it. That is the core of Sarada's awakening. Hidden truth, a truth buried under a false world. This is exactly why the Yodo scene matters. Yodo notices what Sarada is trying to hide. Sarada acts composed, she acts controlled, but her real feelings still bleed through. That scene isn't just there for shipping, it establishes Sarada's emotional structure. Her truth goes under the surface. She hides what matters most, but it still leaks out. That is Sarada, the girl who sees the truth but cannot say it in a way the world accepts. So, if her Mangekyo has a myth, it should be about a hidden light, a buried sun, a truth trapped behind a wall. And that brings us to her first ability, Ohirume. Ohirume is an older name connected to Amaterasu, the sun goddess. So Sarada is still inheriting the Uchiha's old sun symbolism, but her version of that symbolism is not a radiant sun like Itachi's Amaterasu. It is a concealed sun, a blackened sun, a sun whose presence is felt not through light but through distortion, pressure, and gravity. Ohirume does not manifest as flame. It manifests as black spheres that pull everything around them inward. Visually, they do not look like ordinary attacks. They look like miniature eclipses or artificial dark suns suspended in space. Mechanically, they distort the battlefield through gravitational force. Symbolically, they do something even more important. They turn the image of the sun into something hidden, obscured, and collapsed in on itself. And that fits Sarada perfectly. When Sarada awakens the Mangekyo, the truth does not burst into the world and set everything right. The opposite happens. The truth is still there, but it has been covered over. The same way an eclipse hides the sun without destroying it. That is why Ohirume works so well, both mechanically and visually. It is not just a gravity ability, it is the image of a truth that still exists, but has been blacked out and pulled behind a false surface. Sarada knows the real sun is there, but the world is staring at the darkness covering it. So Ohirume is not just the sun in a generic sense. It is the hidden sun, the eclipsed sun. A power that turns the battlefield into a field of black celestial bodies, where force gathers inward and what should be visible is instead covered, distorted, and trapped behind darkness. And that is exactly why the second eye matters so much. Because Mangekyo abilities often feel like parts of a larger pattern. Sasuke's Amaterasu creates the flames, and Kagutsuchi shapes them. One eye establishes the phenomenon, the other completes it. So if Ohirume is the hidden or eclipsed sun, the truth covered over by a black false image, then the second ability should be the power that answers that image directly. If one eye is the hidden sun, the other eye has to bring that sun back out. And there is one mythological name that fits perfectly: Aim no Uzume. In the Shinto myth, Amaterasu hides inside the heavenly rock cave. The sun disappears, and the world falls into darkness. But the sun isn't dead, it's just hidden. The world has lost access to it, and the gods cannot simply force her out. So Aim no Uzume performs a dance outside the cave. She creates a disturbance, a reaction, and through that, Amaterasu is drawn out again. Uzume brings the hidden sun back into the world. Sarada's entire story after Omnipotence is the cave myth. The truth is hidden, the world is dark, the sun still exists, but no one can see it. Sarada is the one standing outside the cave. So what would Uzume actually do? It should not be a giant explosion. It should not erase Omnipotence across the entire planet. That would be too easy, and it would make Ida's power feel pointless. Uzume should work on a smaller, sharper level. One target, one moment, one contradiction. And this is where Genjutsu makes sense. The Sharingan has never been just an eye of movement and copying. It is also the eye of hypnosis, the dojutsu that sees through chakra, reads the structure behind jutsu, and turns vision itself into a weapon. So Sarada's second eye should not simply add more damage, it should weaponize perception. But Uzume would not be normal genjutsu. A normal genjutsu makes someone see a lie. Uzume would force someone to see the truth that is being hidden from them. It would not create a false image. It would expose the false image already covering reality. That is why it fits Omnipotence so well. Ida's power does not delete the truth. The real world still exists underneath the rewritten one. Omnipotence covers recognition. It makes people accept the lie as reality. Uzume would not break that globally. It would create a crack, a buried memory, a suppressed feeling, a contradiction in identity, a moment where the target's mind sees something the false world cannot fully explain. Because once a false reality shows even one crack, it stops feeling absolute. And that is also why this ability would be the perfect counter to the divine trees, especially Hidari. Hidari is not Sasuke, but he came from Sasuke. He has Sasuke's body, Sasuke's chakra, and this distorted, instinctual pull towards Sarada. That is the contradiction. If Hidari were only a mindless monster, Sarada would just need to destroy him. But the story is showing something stranger. Hidari is a new being, trying to understand himself, while carrying a connection he did not choose. Something from Sasuke's attachment to Sarada remains buried inside the form Hidari inherited. Uzume would attack that exact point. Not by overpowering Hidari with a bigger blast, but by forcing the contradiction to the surface. Not literally turning him back into Sasuke, and not saving him through simple emotion, but making him confront the truth his own body and chakra are still carrying. For one moment, Hidari sees Sarada as more than prey, because the body he came from carries a truth his new identity cannot fully erase. Sarada's eye drags that buried recognition into view. Ohirume controls the field through black gravitational suns. It pulls matter, force, and space inward. Uzume controls the moment through revelation. It pulls buried truth, buried memory, and buried recognition outward. One eye creates the eclipse, the other makes the hidden sun visible again. There are other names that could work. Kamimusubi could fit if the second ability is about bending reality, reconnecting broken identity, binding separated pieces, or restoring what was split apart. Mizuhanome could fit if the power is about purification, cleansing distorted chakra, or washing away false perception. But Uzume fits the full structure best. It connects directly to Ohirume. It connects directly to Amaterasu. It completes the cave myth. It fits Omnipotence, it fits Hidari, and it gives Sarada a pair of abilities that actually belong together. Ohirume is the hidden sun. Uzume is the one who brings it back. One eye collapses light into a black sun. The other exposes the truth buried in that darkness. That is why Sarada's second Mangekyo ability should be Uzume. It should not simply destroy, it should reveal. Not by breaking the entire world at once, but by creating the first crack. One person, one moment, one hidden truth pulled back into view. Because once the hidden sun is seen, even for a second, the darkness stops being absolute.